Hello, and welcome to Bowser Sports, and today we're going to have a quick Pens update and a little bit of an NHL draft appetizer. So we had a little bit of an update post the last Penguins episode that came out of at the end of the NHL Trade Deadline. There's a little bit of an update. The Pens did end up moving the fifth round pick in 2025. That was their own 25. That was moved out as part of the trade that went to Toronto for Connor DeWar and Connor Timmins. So as a result, the Pens now have 30 draft picks in 2025, 26, and 27 drafts. They have now remaining in the 2025 draft two fifth round picks, Chicago Blackhawks and the New York Rangers. Also after the deadline and shortly after we had recorded the video, the Pens came out and announced that they had signed a 1-year extension for left defenseman Ryan Shea for $900,000, so well below the NHL minimum to not submit, but to move guys over to and demote down to the AHL without any impact to the salary cap. And so it's a depth signing. I wouldn't get excited about it, or offended by the team signing. He's a depth guy. He's going to play the remainder of the year, based upon what they have. And so that's pretty much it from kind of an update from a salary cap. Nothing really impacted. I put it out there, but obviously over time we'll see those changes for next season with that 900K. But again, even if he's a seventh defenseman, it's not going to break the bank or hurt the team. They're still most likely going to stay in this retool rebuild mode, kind of hedging with Crosby, finishing out his time here. So that is it for that component of today's show. I did want to hit on the Pens' current situation. They are now in fifth place as a recording of this video. That means they will get the fifth Beth lottery draw here that I believe will probably most likely be in May when they have the draw. And so from a top prospect perspective, you'd really like to see Buffalo and the 4 spot really kind of get maybe on a little bit of a roll with their players, improve their lot, and see the Pens hopefully with that. Pens have a tough schedule, not as I'm rooting for them to lose, but just hey, let's face it. Look at this top 4; those are the 4 best players in this draft. I think any one of those 4 guys, you can make an argument to be the number 1 pick. I would say probably sometime last year or even through the offseason, Roger McQueen in the 5th spot was viewed as a 1-2 player. As you can see, McQueen, we'll start with him in the middle. He is just returning back from an injury. He's played 3 games. He's got 8 goals, 4 assists on the season. Not any kind of indicator of his skill. He's 6'5". He's just under 200 pounds, so he's got some weight to add on to his frame. He's a pretty good skater for his size. Some of the video I've watched, I'd like to see a little bit more of a jump, but when it's a big man, it's kind of hard because he is getting that nice length in his skating. And so, if you grew up and watched Mario Lemieux when Mary was really really young, you saw that burst. Not trying to compare the two guys here, but similar statures in size and right-handed. And so we'll see what happens with McQueen here to finish off the season with the Brandon Wheat Kings. Now, my favorite guy in the draft is Porter Matone. He's 6'3". He's got 89 points on the season up in Mississauga. And so he is another guy that I think, with his size, he is, from a body perspective, he's NHL ready, which is why when I look at the forwards, he would be my number 1 guy. Again, if I'm picking first overall, I would look at Martone for one main reason, and that is the Pens' depth on the right wing side is not great. You've got two guys over 30 and Raquel and Rust, and I think Martone can come in and just hopefully get third line minutes and work his way up, through the time here. So we'll see with that. But the other position that the team is definitely weak in, and McQueen's a center. And these next two guys, Michael Misa and Jane Hagens, um, kind of smaller water bug players with speed, great skills, playmakers. Misa's really having, as you can see, 58 goals in 59 games. Again, at time of this recording, he's having a really outstanding year in a more offensive league as compared to what Hagens is playing in the NCAA with Boston College. So we'll see how that. Interesting to see how those two compare when they get to the NHL, and how those leagues kind of portray, ultimately the skill sets. We saw Macklin Celebrini and Will Smith out in San Jose. I think they're having good years. Connor Bedard, those guys, I think are all similar to Hagens and Misa with the skill sets. The offensive players are not very big, and so I think those guys would be interesting. Again, if I had to pick number one, I'm not sure I'd actually take either of those guys right now over Porter Matone, but we'll see here over the next month and into the evaluation period the teams will have. And then topping the list is left defenseman up in Erie with the OHL auditors. Matthew Schaefer, 6'2", 183. He's got nice size, got room to grow from a strength perspective. He is your typical, I think, two-way player, probably a little more on the offensive side than he is on the defensive side of the game. He obviously, if you're not aware, has missed a lot of games as well due to an injury in the World Juniors. So we'll see how these play out. We've got a couple other guys we won't review through today. I just want to give you a quick little appetizer of what's to come over here in the next couple of months as we get into the June NHL draft. That will be the big focus. You really, for the last, almost 20 years since the Jordan Staal draft, the Pens have not, or not have not been a lock into this top 10. And so, while there was a shock the night the Pens traded Staal to Carolina and got a number 8 pick and blew that, but this year they're for sure going to get most likely, nothing crazy happens here in the season, but most likely going to be in that top 8. Figure they're going to be in the 5 or 6 slot, and then I think the farthest back you can move, if I recall, is 2 spots. So if they go from 5, 6 to 8 at worst, and again, we'll see how this plays out as I get time to evaluate. I will look at players and video and start to do my own kind of scouting that of these players on my own. And I did watch a little bit of video today on McQueen, and that's why I mentioned a little bit of his burst and skating. But again, he's just getting back into the swing of things. So I'll pick back up on him in a couple weeks to see some video and see what's changed there, how his offensive skills will get into. And most likely into a playoff run, and that'll be what I'm really excited about. See how he raises his level, not only from what I saw his last 3 games, but then, over the end of the regular season into the playoffs. I really want to see how he does, because I do believe, he's probably one of those guys that could slide just a little bit. So if the Pens slide back, and unfortunately due to the way the lottery works, he's a good player to kind of watch out here. So. That is it for today. Hopefully you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please leave a comment. What are you looking forward to for me to cover? Anything in the Pittsburgh sports realm? Penguins, Pirates, Steelers, Pitt football maybe. I haven't touched on any of the Pitt's athletics yet in any of these episodes. Please give us a subscribe if you enjoy it. It's free to do. Leave us a like if you can. It helps with the algorithm. Until next time, keep your head up and stick on the ice.